She can't be our blood, Miles said. The table went silent. My husband blinked, confused. I didn't speak, I smiled. Then the doctor stepped in, held up the folder, and said, "Actually, there's something you all need to hear." I remember the chill before the words even landed. I was still in the hospital gown. Still sore. Still bleeding. And she looked me in the eye like I was a stranger holding someone else's child. My arms tightened around Luna. I could feel the burn behind my eyes. But I didn't cry. Not this time. Caleb said nothing. Of course he didn't. He looked at me like he wanted answers. As if I hadn't given him everything. I smiled, but not out of kindness. I smiled because I already knew. And the truth? It was about to tear everything they believed apart. When I met Aaron, it wasn't some grand, movie-worthy moment. It was a cramped university library, two worn-out students fighting for the same outlet. He offered to share it, joking that he liked girls who stole power. I didn't laugh, but I stayed. That was the start. Aaron was all warmth and chaos. He talked with his hands, got excited over spreadsheets, and knew every indie band before they were cool. Me? I was quieter. Raised by my grandmother after my mom passed, I learned early how to listen before I spoke. Maybe that's why we worked. He helped me loosen up. I helped him slow down. We moved in together after graduation. It wasn't planned. My apartment had plumbing issues, his had roaches. One night turned into a weekend, and then somehow, 2 toothbrushes sat in the same cup. We laughed more than we fought. We built a little life out of secondhand furniture and shared takeout. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours. We got married at City Hall on a Thursday. Just us, 2 close friends, and my cousin live-streaming it for my grandma back in Portland. Aaron's parents didn't come. His mom, Victoria Chin, said it was too sudden. She offered to plan something more appropriate next year, something her friends could attend. We said thanks, but no. We didn't want someone else's version of our wedding. I'll be honest, I wanted her to like me. I tried. Holiday invitations. Thoughtful birthday gifts. Group texts with photos from our hikes or dinners I cooked. She'd reply with a thumbs up. Maybe a heart if Aaron was copied in. But mostly silence. Not cruel. Just intentional. The first time I met her, she smiled like I was an intern showing up to the wrong meeting. She didn't raise her voice. Didn't say anything directly offensive. She just asked things like, "What do your parents do?" Even after Aaron told her I was raised by a single grandmother who worked 2 jobs. She commented on how calm I was for someone from Oregon. I smiled through it. Aaron said she was just like that. She's not emotional, he told me once. It's how she was raised. Her love language is logistics. I didn't understand what that meant, but I gave her the benefit of the doubt. Again. And again. When we started trying for a baby, things felt new. Like maybe life would shift. Victoria didn't say much. She sent one email, a list of prenatal supplements she swore by, no greeting, no signature. Just a link to a luxury OB clinic with the words, "Book early. They fill up fast." Aaron booked it. We could barely afford it, but he said his mom would help. She did. But it came with strings I didn't see yet. It took almost a year. And a lot of heartbreak. I had one early miscarriage, then another. Each one gutted me silently. Victoria never asked how I was doing. When Aaron told her, she replied, "Well, maybe it's not meant to be right now." Not cruel. Just cold. My own body started to feel like a stranger. I stopped going to baby showers. I cried in Target when I passed the newborn aisle. My grandmother would call and pray with me. She said, "You will be a mother, child. One way or another." I held on to that. Then one morning, I woke up nauseous. I thought it was food poisoning. It wasn't. I took the test in silence. It turned positive before the timer even finished. I stared at the lines for a long time, afraid to believe it. When I told Aaron, he lifted me off the ground and twirled me around the kitchen, barefoot, half asleep. We both cried. The pregnancy was rough. I had migraines, morning sickness that lasted all day, and nightmares that I'd lose her again. Victoria never visited. No gifts. Just one message, "Let me know when you find out the gender." No smiley face. No congrats. I tried to ignore it. I focused on the kicks. The ultrasounds. The sound of her heartbeat. The one thing that made everything real. And then, on a cloudy Friday morning in October, Luna arrived. Screaming, wrinkled, perfect. I held her against my chest and whispered, "You made it." Aaron cried like I'd never seen before. And that, for a moment, was everything. Until the door opened. And she walked in. Victoria. Perfect hair. Neutral dress. No flowers. She looked at Luna. Then at me. And I felt it. That chill again. Like the room had just lost its air. The day after Luna was born, the room smelled like lilies and antibacterial soap. Aaron was asleep on the pull-out chair, still in the same hoodie he'd worn the night before. Luna lay against my chest, her tiny fists curling against the fabric of my robe. I should have felt safe, whole, but the air felt tight, like something was about to shift. Around mid-morning, the door opened. Victoria walked in. Cream blazer, beige pants, designer tote slung over one shoulder like she was attending a board meeting. Not a flower, not a card, just that same smile that never quite reached her eyes. She walked to the foot of my bed, looked directly at Luna, then back at me. Not a word. Just that pause, like she was calculating something. I offered a polite hello. She nodded. Aaron stirred beside me, sitting up and rubbing his eyes. Mom, hey, you made it. I said I would, she replied flatly, then turned back to the baby. I tried not to overthink it. Maybe this was just her awkward way of showing up. Maybe she really wanted to see her granddaughter. Maybe I was tired and hormonal and imagining things. But then she said it. Calmly, almost gently. She doesn't look like you, she said, still staring at Luna. Aaron blinked. Huh, she has hazel eyes, Victoria continued. And olive skin. That's not from our side of the family. I felt my body freeze. Not from anger. Not yet. But from the absurdity of it. The way she said it, as if she were reading off a grocery list. Aaron gave a soft, awkward laugh. Baby's changed, Mom. She's a day old. Victoria didn't laugh. She doesn't look like either of you, she said. Then she looked at me. Direct. Cold. I'm not trying to start something. I just think. Maybe a test would give everyone peace of mind. Peace of mind. What a phrase. Like accusing a mother of cheating 2 hours after labor was a casual conversation starter. I looked at Aaron. He didn't say anything. He was staring at Luna. Silent. That silence was louder than anything Victoria had just said. Louder than my heartbeat, louder than the monitor beeping softly beside me. I cleared my throat. You're not seriously entertaining this, are you? I asked him. He glanced at me, then back at his mother. I think a test could shut this down. Once and for all. And, just like that, something broke inside me. Not my heart. Not exactly. Something quieter. Like a string pulled too tight. I handed Luna to Aaron without a word. Sat up straighter in the bed. Then looked at Victoria, eye to eye. Fine, I said. Do the test. But when the results come back, and she's exactly who I know she is. I hope you understand what you've just done. You questioned your granddaughter's place in this family. On the day she was born. Victoria didn't flinch. She just nodded, as if we'd agreed on a brunch reservation. I'll arrange it, she said. Then she turned and walked out. No goodbye. No second glance. Just that clean, practiced exit she'd mastered over the years. The door clicked shut behind her, and for a moment, the room held its breath. Aaron stood there, holding Luna like she might shatter. I leaned back against the pillow, feeling the weight of the day settle over me like a second skin. She didn't mean it like that, he said quietly. I didn't answer, because we both knew she did. He sighed. She just wants what's best. No, I said. She wants control. And she'll burn down everything in this room to get it. He didn't argue. That said more than anything. That night, I didn't sleep. Every time Luna stirred, I was already awake. Not from worry, but from planning. By sunrise, I'd already called the hospital's third-party genetic testing partner. I didn't wait for Aaron. I didn't ask for permission. I just did it. Mouth swabs. 3 of them, 1 for me, 1 for Luna, 1 for him. The woman on the phone said they could see us that afternoon. I said we'd be there. When I told Aaron, he hesitated. Do we really need to? He asked. You know the truth. I know the truth. That's exactly why we do it, I said. Because she doesn't. And she never will, unless someone in a lab coat tells her what she won't hear from me. He nodded. Slow. Reluctant. But he nodded. And so we went. The office was tucked inside a bland medical plaza off I-94. The walls were beige. The lights flickered. Luna slept through the whole thing. The technician was polite, quick, and expressionless. A few swabs, some signatures, and we were done in under 20 minutes. Victoria didn't come. But she made it clear she expected to be present for the results. Of course she did. Back home, I held Luna close and whispered into her tiny ear. I know you. Every kick. Every craving. Every heartbeat. You are mine. No matter what they say. And in that moment, I wasn't afraid anymore. I was ready. I didn't tell anyone we had an appointment. Not my dad. Not my best friend. Not even my sister. I didn't need advice. I didn't need encouragement. I needed air. And truth. And a room without judgment. Aaron drove. Luna was in the back, strapped into the new car seat we'd splurged on during my 3rd trimester, back when the biggest thing we worried about was which stroller folded easier. He didn't speak much. Neither did I. When we pulled up to the lab, he hesitated before turning off the ignition. "You sure you want to do this?" he asked. I looked at him. His eyes were tired. Not from the baby, he'd barely woken up for night feedings, but from the weight of being between 2 women who had stopped pretending to like each other. "I'm sure," I said. Inside, the waiting room smelled like printer paper and antibacterial wipes. A soft hum of an old HVAC unit filled the silence. A receptionist in lavender scrubs smiled politely and handed us forms. We filled them out side by side, pen scraping paper like clock hands. Tick, tick, tick. Luna slept in her carrier, oblivious to the storm she was born into. A technician came out and led us into a private room. She couldn't have been older than 25. Her name tag read Ally. She explained the process gently, like she'd done this 1,000 times, because she probably had. Cheek swabs. One by one. First Aaron. Then me. Then Luna, who stirred just a little when Ally gently brushed her tiny inner cheek. I held her close as soon as it was done, kissed her forehead, and rocked her back to sleep. "Results take 48 hours, Ally said. But if there's anything unusual, our counselor may ask to meet in person." I nodded. "That's fine." I already knew. Back home, I didn't tell Victoria anything. Let her sit in her quiet confidence. Let her rehearse her smug little apology she probably thought she'd never have to give. Let her imagine the chaos she thought she created, still swirling in the air. But what she didn't know, what she never expected, was that her accusation had already opened a door she couldn't close. I started noticing the cracks in Aaron. The way he avoided eye contact when Luna smiled. The way he triple-checked the bottle labels, the monitors, the thermostat, everything except me. He wasn't cruel. He was just elsewhere. I asked once, "What are you thinking?" He said, "I'm just tired." But it wasn't the kind of tired that sleep could fix. The next day, Victoria texted him. "Any updates?" He showed me the screen. I didn't answer. He didn't either. That silence said more than we realized. Instead, I focused on Luna. Feeding her. Holding her. Memorizing every detail of her face like it was scripture. Her hazel eyes. Her tiny fists. Her steady, determined breathing. She was the only thing in the world that felt unquestionably real. That night, I sat in the nursery with the lights dimmed and the white noise machine humming ocean sounds. Aaron stood in the doorway. He looked at me, then at her. "She looks like you when she sleeps," he said. I didn't respond. I wasn't ready to let softness in again. The next morning, the phone rang. It was the lab. The results were in. But there was a note. A request. They needed to deliver them in person. There was a secondary finding that requires explanation. I felt something tighten in my chest. But I said, "Okay, we'll come in." And, just like that, everything shifted again. Not because of fear, but because somewhere deep down, I already knew. The real twist wasn't about me. It never was. 2 days later, we drove back to the lab. Aaron gripped the steering wheel tighter than usual. Luna slept the whole way. I didn't. Victoria arrived 15 minutes early. Sunglasses indoors, as if this were some press conference she needed to look unbothered for. She didn't greet me. Just nodded at Aaron and sat stiffly in the waiting area. When they called us in, a woman in a charcoal blazer joined the technician from before. A genetic counselor. That word alone sent a chill through me. Counselors didn't come in unless something was off. We sat down in a small room. 4 chairs, 1 folder. No one said anything for a long moment. Then the technician opened the folder and looked straight at me. "Luna is Aaron's biological daughter," she said clearly. 0 doubt. Full match. I exhaled. Aaron blinked. Victoria's expression didn't move an inch. Not apology. Not relief. Just nothing. But the counselor wasn't done. "There's something else," she said gently, flipping the page. "We also ran a comparative analysis on Aaron and Mrs. Chen." She paused. "The data shows no maternal connection." The room went still. Victoria flinched. "I'm sorry, what?" she said. The counselor nodded slowly. "We reran the results twice to confirm. There's no biological relationship between you and Aaron." For the first time since I'd known her, Victoria lost her grip. Her voice cracked. "I was there when he was born. I held him. This has to be a mistake." "It's rare," the counselor said. "But it happens. Hospital mix-ups. Switched records. We can't say how or why, only that the science is clear." Aaron went pale. He looked down at Luna, then back at Victoria. His voice was barely above a whisper. Then who? Who is my real mother? No one answered. Because no one knew. Victoria stood up abruptly. I raised him. I loved him. That doesn't change. And then Aaron looked her in the eye and asked, then why did you try to tear mine apart? She didn't respond. I finally spoke. DNA doesn't define a family. But what you did, that does. We left with the folder. Victoria stayed behind. For once, she had nothing left to say. We didn't speak on the drive home. Aaron held the folder in his lap like it might explode. Luna slept beside me in the back seat, her tiny breath steady, undisturbed. I watched the world pass through the window, strip malls, traffic lights, people walking dogs as if nothing had changed. But everything had. Victoria didn't ride with us. She left on her own, silent. No last word. No dramatic exit. Just a single whisper before we walked out. I didn't know. And for the first time, I believed her. Back home, Aaron disappeared into the nursery. I found him sitting on the floor beside Luna's crib, staring at her like he was memorizing her all over again. His voice was soft when he spoke. I don't know who I am anymore, he said. But I know who she is. And I know who you are. And maybe that's enough to start over. I sat beside him. We didn't talk much. We didn't need to. The silence felt different now. Not cold. Not heavy. Just still. Over the next few days, Victoria didn't reach out. No texts. No calls. Nothing. Aaron didn't push it. Neither did I. Something had broken, and not just between her and me. Between her and the image she'd built, the identity she wore like armor. It wasn't my job to fix that. Not anymore. I focused on Luna. Her feeding cues. Her sleepy smiles. The way she curled her fingers around mine, like she never wanted to let go. I stopped trying to prove anything. Stopped shrinking. Stopped asking for room I'd already earned. This was my family. Not perfect. Not simple. But real. And I wouldn't let anyone question that again. Not because I needed validation. But because I'd finally remembered who I was before they tried to make me smaller. A week later, I received an email from Victoria. 3 paragraphs. Half apology. Half explanation. She didn't ask for forgiveness. She didn't beg to see Luna. She simply said she was processing. That the test results had shaken more than she'd expected. That her reaction wasn't about me, but something she had never spoken aloud. In the final paragraph, she wrote, when I was young, I lost a child. A boy. It happened in the hospital. Sudden complications. I never held him. I never even saw him. They said it was better that way. She never told Aaron. Never told anyone. Just buried it beneath decades of control and perfection. And when Luna was born, that memory rose up. Ugly and uninvited. And she pointed it at me. I read her words twice. Then once more. And I understood something I hadn't before. Her cruelty wasn't rooted in hate. It was rooted in fear. The kind that calcifies. The kind that distorts love until it looks like possession. But understanding her didn't mean I had to let her back in. I didn't respond. Not because I was angry. But because I was finished. Finished shrinking. Finished explaining. Finished waiting for someone to decide I was enough. I hung June's handmade scrapbook on Luna's nursery wall. She'd titled it, Family Isn't Blood. It's proof. It felt right. Like closure. Like choice. Aaron and I kept moving forward. Some days were hard. Parenthood strips you raw. But we chose each other again and again without needing anyone else's approval. One night, while Luna slept on my chest, Aaron whispered, she saved us, didn't she? I nodded. Not just from Victoria. Not just from doubt. But from losing ourselves. Luna gave us a reason to stop asking for space. And start claiming it. And that's what healing looks like sometimes. Not a grand speech. Not a clean ending. Just a quiet knowing that you survived something you'll never let define you.